and welcome to EdTech Chatting 2, episode number 16. It's year number 2, friends. Yay!
We made it.
It's going to be an awesome year. You know, I'm just super excited to be back at school now that things are kind of moving in the right direction. We're kind of over the get started and get all of the technology working phase, and now we can get in there and start working with teachers. And I'm Diane Stokarowski from Kansas. Always with me is Mike Soskill from Pennsylvania.
Hi there.
Yeah. And how's things going in Pennsylvania, Mike?
Things are going very, very well. It's been a great start to the school year. We all have all kinds of amazing things that are going on that we've started. Last week I was down in New York. I spoke at the Social Good Summit, which is hosted by the UN, and told stories of global collaboration projects that our kids are working on, where our kids are literally changing the world for the better. So it's been a good month so far.
Awesome. And Karen Balbier from El Paso. Hey, Karen.
Hello.
What's happening down in El Paso these days?
Down in El Paso, our district is actually trying something new. Probably the first district here in Texas to do this is we had a textbook adoption up for science this year, and our district decided not to use the money to buy paper textbooks, and so we're actually have a team of amazing science teachers that are working on building the textbook, a digital textbook using CK12, and we're taking that money and we're going to use it as a way to get devices for our students that don't have BYOD devices so that they can access their textbook anywhere.
Awesome. And one of our newest EdTech Chatting 2 members, Joe Meza from Austin.
Hello. And by the way, if you notice down here, right, where's my name? Right there, right?
Yeah.
Austin, Texas, because I used to work with Karen in El Paso, Texas, but I'm over here and learning some new stuff in this new company, and it's funny that we're doing a Google Hangout because this week I'm going to be hosting a webinar on Google Hangouts.
Oh,
and
very
so,
nice.
Yeah, so I'm learning a lot about Google Hangouts, and I'm really liking all the extra stuff you can do.
There are so many different applications you can add into this. It's pretty much an awesome video conferencing tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are you excited about with your company and things this year, Joe?
Well, right now, so far, the best thing is the learning. They've been pushing me out of my comfort zone. You know, like, hey, Joe, we need you to present on this. Joe, we need you to present on this. Things that I'm not familiar with, but I have to, so I started learning it, and then it's so exciting. For example, one of the sessions I did, a webinar I did, was on the Internet of Things. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? But then I started looking at it, and I was like, wait a minute, I do this already. I have things connected all over my house. My lights are connected, my car's connected, you know, my thermometer, the thermostat's connected, you know, all these things are connected to my, I'm like, wait a minute, even my scale is connected to the internet, follow me? So then I was like, so I got excited about the webinar, and I showed everyone, oh, you can do this. Even a ring, you can wear the ringly and the watch, and all kinds of things that are connected to the internet. And so, yeah, they pushed me into, you know, I was a little uncomfortable, but then I had a good time. Presenting, so I've been learning a lot.
Well, and that's awesome for you to be a part of our webinar here, because you can just take some of that information and share it on with all the rest of our fans, too.
Yay!
And big things happening in Kansas. I just got back from a week in China. Was in Shanghai and in Shenzhen, touring schools in China, discovering how they teach and what ways they're doing to help kids excel. Really interesting. I'll share a little bit more about that down the road here. But and this year I am mentoring 18 teachers with Chromebook carts, and not only just showing them how to play in the Google world, but really teach in a one-to-one environment. So lots of good things happening down here in Kansas too. So my friends, it's going to be a good year. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And we should also mention that we have a new podcast team member who can't be with us today. But Micah Brown, who you may remember from our game show episode last year, is going to be coming on board as our 6th team member. And, you know, whoever can make it every Monday, that's who we're going to be recording with. And, you know, it's going to be a good year.
I think so, too. That's great. And Andrea just couldn't make it today because she's got internet problems, but we're hoping she pops in before it's all over.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that EdTech Chatting 2 is really big on global collaboration projects, and we've got a brand new one that we're ready to kickstart this month. Mike, why don't you tell folks about it?
So we've decided to create our own Skype in the Classroom account, which for those of you that don't know, it's education.skype.com. And using Skype in the Classroom, we posted a lesson called the October Global Video Messaging Exchange, or something to that effect. So what we're going to do is one of our podcast team members each week in the month of October is going to post a video question in a Skype chat. And that question can be on anything cultural related. We want kids to be able to share a little bit about their cultures with other people from around the world. And in a Skype group chat, we're going to have people post their video answers, have different classes post their answers. And we have classes signed up from all 6 continents. Obviously, there's no schools down in Antarctica, so we couldn't get in Antarctica. No one from that continent. Every U.S. time zone. We've got Canada, Australia, places in Europe. Greece comes to mind. I believe South Africa. So there's going to be some really incredible sharing of just everyday life from students around the world, so that they can get to know each other a little bit.
I think it's going to be awesome. And Karen, you've got a team joining in, yes?
Not yet, but I'm going to market it a little more today.
We have one 5th grade team here from Kansas, so I'm excited. And Joe, you're going to be, do you have a team involved, or are you just going to be helping put it together with us?
Right now, at this point, I'm going to be helping out because, I mean, I haven't been out there yet.
It's okay. Yeah. I think it's going to be awesome no matter what. And we can be sharing some of the screenshots of the students and some of the things that we discover in the next few weeks here in the podcast. I think it's going to be incredible. Mike, do you know what our first question is going to be?
I've got some ideas, but we're going to leave that as a surprise for the classes that are involved. What I can tell you is we're going to start next week. So I'm going to be sending out an email either later on today or tomorrow morning that has all of the details and some how-to videos for all of the classes that are involved. And if your class is not involved and you still want to get involved, you've got another couple of days to get us your information. And the way to do that would be to go to the Skype in the Classroom website, which is, again, education.skype.com. Look for the lesson that's up. Right now we're on the front page. It's by the EdTech Chat and Chew podcast team. And simply sign up and send us an email to the email address that's provided within that lesson.
Awesome. I'm crazy excited about this. You know, I was being in China this last week. I mentioned the project to them, and I'd asked the teachers there, I said, if you could ask children anything around the world, what would you want to know about? And a lot of them wanted to know about weather. That was a big popular topic. Many of them asked questions about holidays and how do you celebrate different holidays. And the last one, was school lunch. What does your school lunch look like?
That's what I would have asked.
I would have too. There is one foreign language school that is in Shenzhen, and they have been taking photographs of their school lunch for 2 solid years.
Wow.
And actually, it's a boarding school at the high school. They take pictures of the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they have a website. I'm hoping to get it here before too long, and it has all of the images of the food they've eaten for the last several months. I'm really fascinated about discovering what they eat, you know.
Yeah.
And
that's
go
good
ahead.
stuff. And you know, along those lines of talking about school lunch and what kids like to eat in the different cultures, and you know, Diane, you were sharing before we started recording some of the delicacies that you found in China. I would love for a later global collaboration project to be for us to allow kids to put their favorite recipes online somewhere, and then set up maybe, you know, video conferencing opportunities for kids to share, you know, some different things across continental lines. That would be a pretty neat project. So we'll have to discuss that later on.
I think that would be an awesome idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think kids would love it.
I'm telling you, just immersing myself in another culture for a week just opened your eyes up to just not only perspectives, but you just look at your own life differently. I guess that's the best way to describe it. You know, what is it that you take advantage of? You know, because you do miss family. That's part of it by being away for so long. But just how many wonderful resources that we have here in the United States. We have really great internet in my school. It's not as good as it could be, but a lot of these schools that I visited, and many of them the very best schools in China, just did not have enough bandwidth to give hardly every teacher an iPad. Though iPad minis are huge in China, they're everywhere. And, nobody had cases. Everybody was just holding around their iPads, and definitely all very connected, big phones. They're a tablet phone mixed, where you have this whole thing, you talk in one little section and it hangs up this eye over your head. But they're very much connected to a digital world. And, you know, not having Facebook, not having Google, not having Twitter, you know, to be cut off from that side of my life was a little bit like, oh! But I still had Skype, so I was able to Skype with Mike while I was gone, and because my Google email comes through my phone, I could access my email through my phone when I was connected to the internet. But you know, but on the flip side, I also noticed some really incredible things. You know, the Chinese don't look at kids and say, "Oh, look, you've made a beautiful picture. You must be really, really smart." Like we would encourage kids to do by being creative. We're like, "Oh, that's so smart of you." They would say, "Look at how much you've put those images together. You worked really, really hard." There's the difference. There's a difference. They are supporting and promoting diligence, hard work, perseverance, where we're just promoting, you know, you're just smart because you're just a great kid. And I think that's one of the reasons why they work not only hard, but they excel in so many things. But also discovered that their curriculum is pretty much mandated by the government. The students get stacks of books like this, and it's lecture, 4 days a week, with 3 hours of homework a night, and a test for every class on Friday.
Wow.
So there's not a lot of opportunity for project-based learning or even collaborative learning with the teachers. It's very much of, you know, you have your lessons, you lecture it out to the kids, and then they will master it and be ready to perform that on Friday. So they're outstanding when it comes to knowing content, where we struggle in the content range, but they really struggle in the creative, innovative side, where we excel in that. So is there a balance? Do you think there could be, friends? What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
Without a doubt, you know, we talk so much, and you know, within conversations among us as the podcast team, but also within our networks, about how best to learn that content. And you know, because of cultural differences, our kids aren't doing 3 hours worth of homework at night, and they're not studying in the same way that kids in Asian countries are. So is there a way for us to use the inspiration that comes with that creative side of things in the project-based learning or the inquiry-based learning in order to help them learn content better? And I think that would be the discussion that I would want to have. You know, can we improve our content delivery without sacrificing the creativity that makes us Americans and that makes us strong as a country?
What were you going to say, Joe?
No, it's because when you start talking about this, I remember reading an article just about this, about what you're talking about, and I thought, wow, you know, and that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how can you get both from the East and the West and kind of blend it together, and so the kids can have a little bit of both worlds?
Right.
But then again, it made me feel kind of good about being American, you know, because all the cool ideas come from, you know, this side of the world, you know. But yeah, I mean, I was agreeing with you, because I'm like, yes, I remember reading this, and that's what I started thinking about. I was like, oh my god. And I try to do this to myself. Like I try to when I'm learning on my own, you know, stuff. I'm trying to like, okay, how much time? I mean, how much, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like metering myself. Okay, did I spend this much time on this much time? Like I'm like, oh, good job, Joe. You did this much this week, you know. But then again, at times I'm structured, Right, but at times I'm all over the place, and you can ask Karen. Sometimes I can be all over the place. My creative side.
Karen, what would you say to this?
I think it's definitely a possibility, but I think that, along with that, I think it's, I'm not leaning on just parents, but, in a lot of Asian cultures, education is very, 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 very important even at home, and I think in America it should be as well, and I know that varies from household to household, and just in promoting that, I think, if you have to learn the content at school and there's not problem-based learning happening in school, it's a good idea as a parent to provide some of those problem-based learning opportunities at home. And if it's vice versa, I'm listening to my child talk about that problem-based learning project they're working on in school is to start asking questions, because when I ask questions to my child about what they're learning, or even help them with the why, the how, that you can also help your child with that research too, so they can become a master in that content as well. So kind of bringing those pieces together as parents and teachers too, I think is important.
I totally agree. And I'm really stopping to see how I even mention my, just something that's been reflecting in my head from being home only 12 hours. But
wow.
As Little Smoke will be working on his homework, I am going to be conscious about how I say things to him. You've just accomplished 30 of these math problems. I appreciate your hard work on doing this. Not because I think you're a great kid and you can do it, and I know you can, but I appreciate the hard work and perseverance you put into that. And I think that's something we could all do easily. Yeah. Well, Mike, anything else that we need to mention today?
Not that I can think of, but I will say this. Karen and I just connected right before this call. Our second graders, my second grader is going to be learning about desert and dry climates next week. And so we actually have a Skype call set up between my students here in Pennsylvania, who, we know nothing about deserts. It rains pretty frequently here and everything's very green. We're going to be Skyping in with her second graders to do a mystery Skype, kind of learn a little bit of geography, and then do a short question and answer session about climate and what the weather's like. So that kind of goes back to what you said, kids always want to know about the weather in other locations. So this is going to give those two sets of students a chance to figure that out.
Oh, definitely. And I'll tell you, the most common question they ask me is, what does a tornado look like?
Yeah. When I went to Denver over the summer this year, I was shocked. It was definitely a cultural change for me to see a tornado shelter in an airport. That is something I had never experienced before. I was like, whoa! So yeah, those of us back east, that's something we don't think about very often.
Yeah, don't El Paso either. We don't think about it very often.
No. Yeah, that was
not in El Paso. Central Texas has a little more to deal with that, but not over here in El Paso.
So now, Joe, you got to look out.
Yeah, and when it rains pretty good too. Let me tell you. Oh wow.
So let's do our lunch round before we go. So Diane, did you have fish gill soup? Did you bring any of that back from China with you?
I didn't bring any fish gill soup today. I'm going low level. Just had some toast with almond butter on it. What about you, Joe? What's for lunch?
Actually, I already had some Wendy's. It was delicious. I had that cheese one, the Gouda. And I always have to get the spicy. Anywhere I go, it always has to be spicy, and it was nice and spicy.
Yum. Karen, what'd you have for lunch today?
Actually, I'll be picking up some to-go on my way to a campus that I'm going to go meet for the first time. So whatever's on the way, that'll be for lunch.
Wendy's might be your future too.
Right.
And Mike, what was your lunch today?
So I don't know if I mentioned it last year, but my wife has gone totally on the nothing but local grown produce and grass-fed meat kick. So we actually had some pork chops from half pig last year. So it was in the freezer. We grilled up some pork chops last night. I had some leftover pork chop cut up on a salad of locally grown greens, including some incredible arugula, which was
that sounds
nice. Good job.
Sounds very nice. All right, friends. Just real quick, Mike, will you tell them how our format's going to change on Monday, so where they can come join us live?
Yeah, so we're going to do things a little bit differently this year. Instead of editing the video and audio from every podcast, we are going to be recording at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. So that would be 1 o'clock for me. For Joe, it's noon for you, and in Texas there. Other side of Texas for Karen, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And for our Pacific friends, that would be 10 a.m. On Mondays. But if anyone would like to join us, we're going to make our recording sessions live so that you can ask us questions or interact with us during the recording session. And then we are going to put the audio only edited up on iTunes for those of you that follow us on iTunes.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week. Till then, see you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.